the reason why, we had this, conformist mob rule mentality that people call woke. Uh, uh, you know, um, the reason that we're now past that almost, it's still kind of there, but we're on our way past that is because of the First Amendment and free speech. And again, I would credit Elon a lot for buying Twitter and letting us talk and can debate and push back on the craziness, right?
It's beautiful. I've been a direct beneficiary of it, as I think everyone in the country has been. So I'm not and I love Elon, but it's a little weird that like a foreigner has to do that. A foreign-born person, Elon, appreciates it in this way. It's like, it's a little depressing. Like, why didn't some American-born person do that? I guess because we don't take it.
Yeah.
Take it for granted.
I wrote a thread. It was like 10 things I like about America. I expected to do well, but it was like 3-4 years ago. It went super viral. The Wall Street Journal covered it. Peggy Noonan, called me and it was like, I want to write a story about it. I was like, okay, it's like a Twitter thread. You could read it. But, I just like talk about normal things, free speech, one of them, but also like hard work, appreciation for talent and all of that. And it was starting to close up, right? I started to see, meritocracy kind of like being less valued and that's part of the reason why I wrote that thread. And what I realized is like, most Americans just don't think about that and don't really value it as much.
I agree.
And so maybe you do need foreigners.
I think that's absolutely right. But why do you I have seen, I hate to say this because I've always thought that my whole life that foreigners are great. I like traveling to foreign countries. My best friend is foreign born, actually, as opposed to mass immigration as I am, which I am.
Arabs really like you, by the way.
Oh, well, I really like Arabs, by the way. I've sort of thrown off the brainwashing. Just a sidebar, I feel like we had a bad experience with Arabs 23 years ago. And what a lot of Americans didn't realize, but I knew from traveling a lot in the Middle East, it was bad. It was bad. However, like that's not representative of the people that I have dinner with in the Middle East at all. Mm-hmm. Like someone once said to me, like, those are the worst people in our country. And right. Mm-hmm. And no, I totally agree with that strongly. I always defend the Arabs in a heartfelt way. But no, I wonder if some of particularly the higher income immigrants recently I've noticed are like parroting the same kind of anti-American crap that they're learning from the institute. You come from Punjab and go to Stanford and all of a sudden, like you've got the same rotten, decadent attitudes of your native-born professors from Stanford. Do you see that?
No, I'm not sure what's the distribution like. I mean, speaking of Indians, I mean, on the right side of the spectrum, we have Vivek, and
who's the best?
Yeah,
and who's a perfect example of what I'm saying. Like Vivek is thought through, not just like First Amendment good, but why it's good.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure it could. I think I think foreigners for the most part do appreciate it more, but it's easy. I talked about how I just try not to be, this conformist, kind of really absorb everything around me and act on it. But it's very easy for people to go in these one-party state places and really get, become part of this like mob mentality where everyone believes the same thing, and any deviation from that is considered cancelable offense. And, you asked about the shift in Silicon Valley. I mean, part of the shift is like, Silicon Valley still has a lot of people who are independent-minded. And they see this sort of conformist type of thinking in the Democratic Party. And that's really repulsive for them. Where, there's like a party line. It's like, Biden is sharp as a tack. Everyone says that. And then the debates happen. Oh, unfit. And then, oh, he's out. Oh, Kamala. It's like,
right.
It's like, lockstep. And there's like no range. There's very little dissent within that party. And maybe Republicans, I think, at some point were the same. Maybe now it's sort of a little different. But this is why people are attracted to the other side in Silicon Valley. By the way, this is advice for the Democrats. Like, if you want sort of Silicon Valley back. You know, maybe don't be so controlling of opinions and like be okay with more dissent.
Well, you have to relinquish a little bit of power to do that. I mean, it's the same as raising teenagers. There's always a moment in the life of every parent of teenagers where a child is going in a direction you don't want. You know, if it's a shooting heroin direction, you have to intervene with maximum force. But there are a lot of directions a kid can go that are deeply annoying to you.
Yes.
And you have to restrain yourself a little bit if you want to preserve the relationship. Actually, if you want to preserve your power over the child, you have to pull back and be like, I'm not going to say anything.
That's right.
This child will come back. To my gravitational pull is strong enough that I'm not going to lose this child because she does something that offends me today.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't hold too tightly. And I feel like they don't understand. I feel like the Democratic Party, I'm not an intimate, of course, I'm not in the meetings, but I feel by their behavior that they feel very threatened. That's what I see.
Yeah.
These are people who feel like they're losing their power.
Yes.
And so they have to control what you say on Facebook. I mean, what?
Yes.
If you're worried about people say on Facebook, you know, you've lost confidence in yourself.
That's right. That's right.
Do you feel that?
Yeah. And I mean, you know, there's Matt Taibbi and Michael Schellenberger and a lot of folks, you know, did a lot of great work on censorship.
Yes.
And the government's kind of involvement in that and how they push social media companies. I don't know if you can put it just on the Democrats, because I think part of it happened during the Trump administration as well.
For sure.
But I think they're more excitable about it. They really love misinformation as a term, which I think is kind of a BS term.
It's a meaningless term.
It's a meaningless term.
All that matters is whether it's true or not.
Yeah.
And the term mis and disinformation doesn't even address the veracity of the claim.
That's right.
It's like irrelevant to them whether it's true or not. In fact, if it's true, it's more upsetting.
Yeah, it's like everything what we talked about earlier. It's just making people stupid by taking their faculty of, you know, trying to discern truth. I think that's how you actually become rational, by like trying to figure out whether something is true or not, and then being right or wrong, and then that really kind of trains you for having a better judgment. What you talked about, judgment. That's how people build good judgment. You can't outsource your judgment to the group, which again is like feels like what's asked from us, especially in liberal circles, is that no, Fauci knows better. 2 weeks to stop the spread. You know, take the jab, stay home, wear the mask. You know, it's just like talking down to us as children. You can't discuss certain things on YouTube. You'll get banned. At some point, you couldn't say the lab leak theory, right? Which is now the mainstream theory.
Yes.
And again, a lot of this self-corrected because of the First Amendment.
Yeah, and Elon. Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. We hope you'll subscribe to it. And by the way, you can hit the little bell on there and get notifications every time we produce a video. We hope you'll do that also.